Welcome back to the show, you beautiful degenerates. It's your host, Brett C. Collins, the only place where we can cut through the Beltway bullshit with zero apologies. Today's episode is a full throttle takedown of this Milksop hearings, starring the whiniest justices this country has ever seen, melting down like cheap candles in the DC heat. We're talking spineless testimony, crocodile tears in the courtroom, and full-blown fear and loathing swirling through the swamp. Right now, buckle up, buttercups, grab a drink, single malt only, because we're about to roast these clowns, expose the circus, and laugh our asses off while the Republic burns in real time. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. Welcome to the We Are Rise Show. This is an episode, whatever the hell it's about. Let's get into it, and let's forget about it, because I can tell you right now, what I'm going to show you of the clown show, the world we live in, it's not real. It's almost a joke. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing across the board. Tonight's episode, Fear and Loathing in D.C. Milksop hearings. I don't think anybody knows what Milksop is. It's basically being indecisive, lacks courage, like our what? Secretary of Department of Homeland. Okay? Mark Wayne Mullen. I don't trust the guy with two first names. What a clown he is. He is not only bereft and contemptible, and he lacks courage and resolve. He's a fraidy cat. Yeah, we're going to get to Mark Wayne Mullen. Garbage, 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 garbage. Garbage human, garbage person. It doesn't even matter anymore. I'm disgusted about, we got a bunch of fucking what? Whiny justices pimping for cash on the Hill yesterday? Or we're going to talk about that wonderful Catholic, okay? Out again, putting out what? The basket. During what? Receivership show she should collect dough to protect her family. She should resign in disgrace. Amy Coney Barrett. I'm not doing this. Apparently, that's what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about a lot of different things and more. So again, welcome into the We Are Rise show. How's everybody doing? I'm just disgusted right now, and I got to go into a couple of things. Nice shirt, Brett. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know if you're serious or not, and I don't really care. Welcome in pill.net. Welcome in YouTube. Hello, or on Rumble. Let's get into it tonight. President Trump, I'm going right through it, and then we're going to have to cover it. President Trump says
them
this.
Up really badly.
Let me get into it right now. President Trump, boom, says this.
They have to be beat up. We're hitting them very, very hard. We're hitting every single thing that they have along the shore, along the waterfront. You know, if you look at the Strait of Hormuz, it's now we're finding it hard to find where they have anything. We have to stop it. We have to keep it open. I was going to charge a fee, but instead they'd rather spend a lot of money in the United States, which frankly is better because I don't like the idea of a fee. It's got to remain free because otherwise others will do the same thing. But I think we've made tremendous progress. If we left right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild what they have. The only way you can negotiate with these people is through strength. And the only strength is military strength.
So there you go. President Trump talking about that. It's military strength. We're going to cover some of Iran. But mostly this show is going to be a lot about what I just discussed earlier. And we're going to break it down. BioClandestine puts this out. This is a guy who likes to block everybody on X, and now is returning on X and puts this out. He's a funny dude. I kind of like the guy. The military is the only way, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it from what? Secretary what? Nobody. This is a Senator Slotkin from what? Michigan, former CIA agent, provocateur. Listen to what she says, and I can tell you right now, this is going to happen.
The first, a scenario in which Trump finds a pretext, invokes the Insurrection Act, and tries to impose martial law.
Bingo!
Elections, therefore, could be canceled.
Good.
Or if they happen, he could surround polling places with military and federal law enforcement to intimidate voters.
Excellent.
The second option
is a Democrat.
Harder to track,
CIA slime
but can
bucket.
still swing an election. labeling opposition groups, candidates, and elected officials as terrorists or criminals, and going after the infrastructure that allows for competitive elections.
Yeah, Dirt Slopkin. Yep, exactly. Exactly, Trump one. She's a garbage human, another trash bucket. Who gives a fuck about what she's saying, right? No, you should hear her warnings. She is CIA. She's a CIA-installed apparatchik inside the Senate. There are many of those people. Mark Kelly's another one of them. So don't get that twisted, all right? If she's telling you that's what's going to happen, they already know or are planning some type of opposition to push back about it because they think they have to be planning on this in some way. They know if this happens, President Trump can not only do it, declare a national emergency. We don't know what's going to happen on Thursday night. I am going to cover it. We are going to go live. I'm thinking about 8 o'clock. It'd probably best because President Trump will speak at 9 because I don't want too much time to go on and we'll have more stuff to cover. But I think about 8 o'clock, I'll set the timetable to do the show and prepare it and get it ready. And then for us to go on live to watch what he has to say, have a little discourse thereafter or in between, what have you. I dropped the StreamYard if you want to call in. I got so much more. So this is what we should prepare for, apparently. John Solomon says this. He was all over. He was on Bannon's show. He's on a bunch of other stuff. But this is what he says. Grace Chung puts this out. Solomon, I guarantee you on Monday morning, this Monday coming up, people will wake up and they will feel good that POTUS gave them a primetime speech. I'm sure of it. Listen, I don't know what President Trump's going to say. We've heard so many, let's just say, malicious scams, fog of war, red herrings, flooding the zone, diversionary tactics, rug pulling. I actually was putting up nothing's going to happen on what do you call it? How many people responded? Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, just give it in. Nothing's going to happen. What I'm trying to say is people are prepared that nothing is going to happen. ABC, CBS, the big three are basically saying, we're not going to show this because if he's going to talk about the 2020 stolen election, we're not going to cover it. Good. Bring the EBS system in, emergency broadcasting system in, and bifurcate all this stuff. Let's go. If that happens, it's game over. If emergency broadcast system goes over because major news networks don't want to cover it, and you have to go and find it on Rumble, YouTube, Paramount, because ABC, garbage, CBS, garbage, it doesn't matter. They're saying they're not going to cover it. Okay, yeah, call it a national emergency. Let's do it. Enact it. This is what John Solomon says. Look, Solomon is never right, just my opinion. Casey Snowman, he blows hot air. Okay.
News media should be focused on, but they love anonymous stories because they can always claim afterwards their sources just weren't right. I guarantee you on Monday morning, people will wake up and they will feel good that the president gave a primetime speech. I'm sure of it. He's going to say what he's going to say, but they pick primetime speeches because they're important. So I'll leave it at that and let the American people judge, but I think there'll be plenty there.
Okay, Casey Snowman, if you are correct about this and nothing big happens on Thursday, because we're all going to be watching it. You're going to be here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be broadcasting this live. So I expect you to call in because if nothing big happens, okay, nothing big that we're going to get about the 2020 stolen election or anything. And this topic is going to be a potpourri, whatever the fuck that is, assortment of stuff that is just going to be, let's just say, sprinkled dust presented to us in some magical way. And we're supposed to digest this thinking that, hey, it'll be part or let's just say covered as a Q drop. So we can just go, oh, the Q drop's coming true. With really no fortification, no really understanding about where that's going. So if we're just basically, hat tipping, eye winking, giving the thumbs up, Q drop, that's what we're going to do. Spare me. Okay? Spare me. Better present some good arguments. You're going to have ODNI. You're going to have FBI, CIA, and you're going to have that loser, Mark Wayne Mullen from DHS. What a fucking fraidy cat. I have to tell you right now, that guy is contemptible. He's cravenly weak. He got bitch slapped by Susan Collins today. And President Trump had to override him. It is embarrassing. He needs to be fired. And I believe that there was a reason that he was put in that position, because I can guarantee you right now, Kristi Noem in another situation is doing quite well. I guarantee you right now you're missing Kristi Noem. I know I am. She was kicking ass. She was kicking ass. I hope she fucking divorces a husband who likes to dress up like big titty women. Dude, that broad is hot. And I can guarantee you right now, there's going to be a lot of eligible bachelors wanting to knock on that door. But you know what? Let's be clear about all this stuff. Let's have an open discussion about this. She was hardcore. What do we have now? This guy who pretends to be a wrestler, likes to wrestle with guys. Yeah, he's a mud wrestler. He likes to wrestle with guys. He's a tough guy. Yeah. And then he gets bitch slapped by Susan Collins, who's kooky and Looney Tunes. Please. I'm embarrassed. President Trump knows that this guy was put in a position to what? To be mangled and controlled. I think he put him there to move him out of the Senate to get somebody in there that's a little bit more, let's just say, positive, stronger, more MAGA, whatever. Doesn't matter. And then he's going to fucking throw this guy out like trash. I can't wait. I hope he just disappears like trash. Nominate more people to secretary positions that are garbage senators and just move them out like trash. That's fantastic. Let's move on. President Trump today, he was in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you have any doubt about who President Trump is, and you understand who President Trump, you will see in the future to highlight that we will all memorialize, we will all thank his time serving as president over the 3 terms. Yes, 3 terms. Then you will understand what this guy represents to this country. This comes from MAGA Voice. I'm in tears. President Trump announced our veterans will replace illegals as truck drivers. We're going to cover illegals today. And I can tell you right now, anybody defending the Colombian or the Mexican or the El Salvadorian that was shot in Maine or in this, fuck them and die. We have thousands, and over 10 years. Now, they don't record the numbers. It's more than like 25,000 American citizens. That's not including drunk driving. It's more than that. But states don't record how many American citizens have been murdered. Each individual state has its own, let's just say, viable statistic on that. But when you really look at it, we don't know the actual numbers. Justice Department doesn't take it. FBI doesn't, because they pad the numbers in general. Each state, they know, they just don't want to tell you. What I've found that it's more than 25,000 over 10 years. And it's probably bigger and darker, the number. But they're not going to want to tell you that in 10 years that illegal aliens have killed American citizens. Every fucking illegal scum in this country. I don't care if you're nonviolent. And they have to fucking beat your window down to pull you out of the car like some ragamuffin and arrest you when you resist. They should shoot you there because you snuck in the back door. You broke into my house. You should be executed live on site. You can't hate these people more. And the dirt slot people that say they pick our vegetables. You wonder why in 30 states you got a parasitic running around and you're fucking blasting your ass out because of diarrhea. Because these people don't understand good hygiene. These people don't understand anything of Western culture. They are gross, they are disgusting, and they need to be removed. Forcibly or this way. Either way, I don't fucking care. As I preach vigilante justice, I hope they kill more. So they're talking, we killed 10. What about the 25,000 plus? It's so much more, ladies and gentlemen. From my research, it's so much more. And if we had real stats, the show, the numbers of deaths that were brought about by the illegal criminal alien scum in just a decade. You would pull your fucking hair out. You would be out there with your AR-15 hunting these fuckers. Hunting them like what? Not sport. Like cattle. You would hunt them like they're deer. No, you wouldn't. You would hunt them because they are a detriment. They are a disease. They are a parasitical, let's just say, amoeba, an agent, a provocateur that basically burrows in like the screwworm in cattle. I fucking hate these people. They don't make our country better. They make it worse. They steal our wealth, okay? They do so many things that are just, let's just put it this way, are disgusting, and they ruin our culture and our society, and they expect us to change for them. I'm not changing for them, okay? When I see an Indian, I see this, I see that. Fuck you, speak English, all right? Or I'll take a baseball bat to your fucking face. Fuck these people. Fuck them and die. You know, there was just recently a drunk driving attack, okay, that just killed 3 people. A jury just set aside the motion. The guy got like, what, 50 months? He's an illegal. You should just hang him. Hang him, send his dead body back to whatever third world shithole is, and then charge them processing fees so we can fucking what? Get paid back. Not just for the legal fees, the court costs, and everything else. I fucking hate these people. There's only one way. There's only one way. You know it, and I know it. Everybody that watched Citizen Vigilante knows it. There is only one way. We're not winning this war by excommunicating these people, extricating these people, putting them on a... Push them out without parachutes. Fuck these people and die. I'm done. I'm done. And here, President Trump tells you exactly why you're done and I'm done.
We're going to replace them with proud American veterans who are going to take our veterans, who are going to make them, we're going to teach them a lot about driving trucks. And in many cases, they know. We're going to say any American who's driven a heavy truck for our military will automatically be eligible for a commercial driver's license. So we're going to get them taken care of our vets again. And the radical left is very much opposed to that, but it doesn't matter what they want because we're the ones that are running.
We're the ones running the fucking show. I can't wait. We're going to enter into a soft civil war. Okay, it's going to be the Democrat socialists, and many other people, because tomorrow we're facing a national emergency. It has to be declared, and once it does, game on. How do I get to participate and sign up for ICE? I'm looking on ICE right now. I want to sign up for ICE. I want to be an agent. I don't know if they want me because I'll be headhunting. You think breaking a window to fucking pull these people out of the car because they don't speak English and they're like reacting? You haven't seen anything yet. I'll just put them in a sleeper hole and they just fall asleep permanently. Fuck these people. How do I sign up for ICE? Mow these people down. The worst people in our country are the grifters and the grafters that have been nestled in like the screwworm for over a decade, over 20 years. They are the worst. It's not the violent criminals. Obviously, no one's going to support that. But, of course, the Democrats and the socialists will. Doesn't matter. You could just pick those people off like random. You could just be like, hey, stand my ground. I just shot some third world fucking scum. Brown, black, whatever. Garbage. Smells like ass. Who cares? He's not a human. He has no rights. Who gives a flying fuck a dog shit? But the people that have apparently stolen social security numbers, stolen IDs, they get insurance, they get this, they get that, start businesses under fraudulent pretenses while the rest of us go to jail. And then you want to bitch and moan when you just bump a cop with a car? You can't bump a cop with a car. If you're basically fleeing a scene and a cop gets injured in that, they're going to kill you. So all these people that think that, like, whatever, because there were American citizens that were killed, well, you know what? You basically attacked the cop. They're not going to what? Look at you as someone that, as an American citizen, say, well, we got to afford these people some luxury. They're going to look at you as a threat and put you down, as they should. So my advice is don't play fucking loose and fast with the law. But I have to say everything right now, as of today, as of President Trump, pushing forward with ICE. They need to pull people over. They need to go in people's houses, break this shit down, burn this fucking whole thing down. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Mark Wayne Mullen, what a fucking pussy. Oh, I'm a tough guy. I got big muscles. I'm a wrestler. I'm a fighter. You're a fucking wimp. Susan Collins just bitch slapped you in the face. And you listen to that fucking cunt. Oh my God. What's going on out there? This is why the agency of Department of Homeland needs to be deconstructed. It is a garbage agency that has way too much power. And that power and authority needs to be crumbling down. Another post 9/11 relic, just like ODNI and many other structures that are in place that have no viability, no assailability. My God, we are just pussyfied and wimps. Wait till I get to the Supreme Court justices that are pimping for cash like hookers on a fucking strip pole. My God. Paul Sperry puts this out, and I'm going to really go into Paul Sperry a lot today. He's been dropping a lot of good stuff between today and yesterday and last night, ladies and gentlemen. And this is about tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big day. It's the enchilada. Either we're going to have a definitive answer or it's over. And I state that. It's either black or white. There's no in between. There's no gray. Okay? There's no gray. If they don't deliver, it's over. And I have to tell you, I mean, what is the fallout thereafter? We're going to get to all that stuff. So Paul Sperry puts this out. So here's what we're learning from all these declassified materials. The U.S. intelligence community juiced intel to make it seem like Moscow interfered in 2016. Remember that? Russia, to help Trump. But then they buried the intel indicating Beijing interfered the election to help Biden in 2020. Oh, my God. So there you go. They did it twice, and we know this. And this is going to be some of the, let's just say, conversation that is going to happen inside the Oval Office with President Trump. He's basically going to put forth, I think, a lot of different suppositions, not theories, hopefully factual, provable evidence, okay? That can what? That can make it through. And that's why ABC, CBS, and all these other news outlets are not going to cover it, because they fear in some way that if President Trump is able to make this point salient, provable, viable, digestible, it's game over. And that's why they're not going to cover it. The red two, so to speak. But the question will be, will they be able to what? Bifurcate all of them and push the narrative out? Will this be an EBS system manifestation? Oh, that would be fucking great. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, we're going to cover it here tomorrow and the White House and all that stuff. That's going to be great. But I can tell you right now, can you imagine an EBS system going out to bifurcate these corrupt news agencies and then special address from the president? Oh, my God. Honestly, it would carry more weight, more fervor. It would, I think, in some way, say to the American electorate, to the American public, that's not illegal alien scum. That's not third world fucking shithole dump. It's to you and I, the general voter out there. We have a special message that is being broadcast on an emergency channel because that emergency channel is moving through the fake media. And that's what we'll understand. So President Trump says, hilarious, Fox News, Will Kane. I'm afraid Mark Wehrer made a big mistake. Listen to this. Is funny. Listen to what President Trump says here.
Who is not here as your Secretary of State. And I'm
Listen to what he says here.
Very big mistake. he gave an interview where he said that one of his tricks with you is on Air Force One. Marco Rubio goes into a room and covers himself up with blankets so that you won't see him sleeping, that you'll think it's a staffer. And so I think there's only one of two ways you go with this. You give him yet another job, or you pull the blankets back.
That's what he wants. Let me tell you, he's doing a fantastic job. But he's a tough cookie. I can tell you that. He's a tough cookie. He's going to go down as the best Secretary of State we've ever had. You see what we're doing. Just today we solved a tremendous problem in conjunction with Syria, saved many lives.
Right.
I mean, we're saving a lot of lives all over the world. Ended 8 wars. I'm very proud of that because it's not tough for me. We're trying to end one more, by the way, Russia, Ukraine. And I think we're going to get that done too. But we ended 8 wars and saved tens of millions of lives, and I'm happy.
He's highlighting Marco Rubio and what Marco Rubio has done in a multifaceted, let's just say, world circumference of wars and problems, Syria, all these other things that are manifesting. And Marco Rubio is always highlighted and pinpointed out. We're about to take Cuba. There's actual plans in place. I won't discuss it tonight because I got too much to go on, but it's being reported that the works are in place for a ground invasion or incursion to secure Cuba in some way. Yes, that's on the table. Special operators, what have you, not hundreds of thousands of forces. They don't need that, but enough that they can secure and take over Cuba. That's being discussed at the moment, and we're hearing that. We're also hearing this. President Trump saying this about Iran. Now, I don't know how you feel about this because, again, another idea about a ground incursion. President Trump doesn't rule out boots on the ground in Iran. In a recent interview with Fox News' Trey Yingst, President Trump was asked whether the U.S. will conduct a ground invasion in Iran. President Trump is refusing to rule it out. Trump told Fox News on Tuesday he would consider an invasion if he believed it was appropriate. I believe we're already taking Carg Island with special operating forces. The president refused to specify whether the U.S. would try to take Carg Island. I think it's already done. He's saying doing so would be foolish. Yingst pressed Trump whether he stated the objectives for the war, including ensuring Iran's nuclear compliance. They want to check on that. Let's play a little bit of this and tell me what you think.
President Trump says U.S. strikes will continue in Iran, with each day getting...
After the Iranians attacked vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, how would you describe what is happening at this moment? Has the war resumed?
Well, I guess you could define it any way you want, but certainly we're beating them up really badly. They have to be beat up. We're hitting them very, very hard. We're hitting every single thing that they have along the shore, along the waterfront. You know, if you look at the Strait of Hormuz, it's now, we're finding it hard to find where they have anything. We have to stop it. We have to keep it open. I was going to charge a fee, but instead they'd rather spend a lot of money in the United States, which frankly is better because I don't like the idea of a fee. It's got to remain free because otherwise others will do the same thing. But I think we've made tremendous progress.
So your objectives are to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon, to keep the strait open, and to degrade the Iranian military. Can those objectives be completed in an air campaign alone, or does this require a ground component?
Well, I think they're completed now, honestly. If we left right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild what they have. The only way you can negotiate with these people is through strength, and the only strength is military strength. And that's what we've done. And I mean, literally 2 days ago, we had a deal, and then they broke it at the last moment. They broke it.
Will these strikes continue?
They'll continue until I say it's enough. I mean, they'll continue. They've been, the word the military likes to use is degrade. They've been degraded to a very low level. And they have fight. You know, it's like a great boxer. You think you have him beat, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he gives you a shot. They have some fight left, but they don't have much. And their weapon degrading has been incredible at a level. Nobody thought it was possible to do it this quickly.
You posted today on True Social comments that you made back in 1988 about Carg Island. And at the time you said, one bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Carg Island.
Wow.
I'd go in and take it.
Yeah.
Do you still intend to take Carg Island?
So I can't say that to you because if I did, it would be foolish, right? But
He can't say it because it's already happening under special operations. It's happening right now, or it has happened, as I said a month ago. That's why he's saying, I can't say that right now. I can't presume to say that right now because I don't want people to know that it has already taken place. It already has taken place. We already fortified this in this matter. There is probably a lot of things that we are not told because of they have to be classified. They have to keep it clandestine because of the media and the threat of our operators that are, let's just say, that are there on the ground in Iran, on Karg Island, and maybe other people involved there in general. I told you, don't dismiss that a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. I said, don't dismiss it. If it's already being thrown out there, okay? Just like you're playing darts, it's already been imagined and it's already been done, okay? Under the cover, under the veil of boom, boom, boom. Yeah. This has already been done. It's already been discussed. So keep that imagination open. They're not going to tell you that we have boots on the ground, okay? We do. We do have boots on the ground. It's absolutely true, okay? But it's not like 50,000, 100,000 American forces. You would probably have, I would say, less than 1,000 operators on the ground. If I had to guess, maybe between 500 and 700 spread out in different capacities with different groups all over the place, with different missions all over the place. That's my guess, okay? I'm not read in. I don't have any special bird talking in my ear. There's no canary. There's no mole. I don't have the New York Times commenting and telling me stuff. I don't have any of that stuff. I have you and I, okay? I can read, I can think, I can understand, and it's quite plausibly operational months ago, not just now, because we're hearing more and more about that the viability is the possibility. So if the possibility is already real, then it's already happened. Consider that. That's how things are. So if you're hearing the outcome as a future portents, that means it's already been done. That's what they're trying to tell you. That's what they're trying to say. But they're never going to tell you that. They don't need to tell you that. Let's welcome in everybody on Pill.net. I got to say hello to Darl L. Thank you for the can. I'm so over these illegals. They're raising hell about ICE here in Texas. A live shooter is in Kroger's store in Houston, Texas. Sick of the shit show. Yeah, shoot him. Kill him. A third world illegal. Any of these people, Mexican, Colombians, doesn't matter. Their life is fruitless. They have no meaning. They're not an American citizen. Okay? And they're here illegally, meaning they snuck in the back door, just like they sneak in through your sliding door or your back porch or anything like that to break into your house. We should treat these people as they actually broke into your house. Shoot them on sight. And then what? Charge the families or the country from where they came. What? The fees for cleanup in aisle 7, okay? Rectal bleeding. We need to go after the countries and charge them. Hey, I'm going to ship your fucking body back to your third world shithole. Pay up, motherfucker. Darlo, gift of the can. Take it a step further and put the military snipers on universities and colleges and schools. Deterrent. No more Charlie Kirks. I don't necessarily think that's probable. It's going to be passable. At this point, with the Charlie Kirk shit show, which I stay away from, I'm completely convinced Tyler Robinson didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. But I'm not completely convinced he's not a part of this sideshow, okay, as part of, let's just say, someone of not a Jack Ruby, but more of an Oswald type. He's involved, but did he actually pull the trigger? No, I don't think so. And I think that he's perfectly comfortable being set up and going down as the patsy. That's my take on that. And that's what I'm going to say about it. And then Jack Brasobic and Benny Johnson, who likes, he likes his little fun with the little boys to discuss. So this is a perfect discussion for him. I think those two have completely lost all credibility. The Binder people. Thea donating 900 gold pills. Juicy show. Thank you. Sean Joe, what's up? Thank you for the cookie and another cookie. Darlo, gift to the can. Maybe we're about to get the National Security Act. Maybe we're about to get the National Emergency or the Emergency Broadcast System. But you were right. Sean Joe, again, another cookie. Curious Cat. Good evening. Welcome from L.A. Thank you for the cookie. Trump won. What's up? How you doing? Thank you for the cookie. And Wood USA, always here, dropping gold pills. Thank you for the 219 gold pills. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your friendship, your commentary, a lot of your stuff. Hello over here on Rumble, Nod Dog, Alita. Soak all your fruits and vegetables in water. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, in 30 states right now, it's mostly basil. It's mostly salad mixes. It's mostly a lot of stuff. Any fruits and vegetables that are handpicked by illegal alien scum, well, these people wipe their ass with their hands. If they have no toilet paper or nothing, they don't even wash. So my point is simply, you should be washing this stuff. There are vegetable washes you can purchase on Amazon. There are many different things. You can use baking soda. You can use distilled water. You can even use vinegar. My advice is to you, okay? When you purchase these products, clean them before you eat them, because you know what? The people that are picking them are very unsanitary. They are disgusting. They're human scum, and we should treat them as they were. The dirt slop. Remember, I've always told you there's 4 types of people that live in our country. Owners, managers, workers, and everybody else that is going to be left behind and kicked to the curb and basically going to be what? You know, they're going to be sidelined, or let's just say there's going to be a pencil pushed through their name because they decided that they don't want to be a part of anything positive. They don't want to work for the system and rather do drugs. They want to do this. They want to do that. Well, they're just so completely fucked up. There's no walking it back. Possessed, what have you. I don't care. I'm not here to save the world. I'm not here to tell you to save the world. Fuck all these people. Have ivermectin on hand? Possibly, but you know what's an easier thing, Casey Snowman? Something I take for diverticulitis, because that's a genetic disease that I have. My uncle has it, my mom has it. It simply is metronidazole. Okay, they were pushing a certain antibiotic. Okay, they were pushing Septra or Bactrim, which is a sulfa drug. But the point being about that, people are allergic to, like I am. And so they're highly allergic to. And also, that doesn't necessarily treat certain parasitic things. They were also using other things like doxycycline, which is okay, and you can use it with ivermectin. However, the number one thing that the doctor should be prescribing is something of that nature is metronidazole. Look it up. Understand it. It's a powerful drug. And when I get an infection or I get something where my diverticulitis flares up, they give me metronidazole and something else that I'm not allergic to because it's powerful. Fenbendazole works in some way parasitically, but you probably want to use it with ivermectin. But the idea and the discussion about digestive issues, yeah, use herbs too. Slippery elm, ladies and gentlemen, I use it all the time. What I do is I buy the pack, okay, of the film, and I put it in like coffee or tea or water and stuff, and I drink it. Spoons full of sugar, baby. I mean, I have the pills. It's fine, but it works. That shit is so good. It's not even funny. It's better than Pepsin. So I digress. I don't want to get into a medical quandary. Let me move on. I got so much more. So Eric Daughtry puts this out. I don't want to run late, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go with the shit show. So today's Milksop hearings and the fear and loathing in D.C. Here we go. Lamo, Democrat Senator Mark Warren is frantically grilling Trump DNI Jay Clayton. They want to get him in so they can move out Pulte immediately, and they're doing it let's just say opportunistically. They're pushing forward this. They want Pulte out because whatever Pulte's going to drop tomorrow through Gabbard and everything else, it's going to get ugly. So they're pushing this NDNY guy, and there are people that like this guy, and they're thinking he is basically, we shouldn't trust him. We shouldn't trust him because, let's face it, he comes from the Southern District of New York, and comes from a blue shoe, a white shoe law firm, what have you. That's the point. Yeah, I understand what you take. Yeah, it all works. Here we go. Listen to this.
That Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
Senator, I'm not an election denier. Joe Biden was certified as the president of the United States.
Election denial is something we cannot have. So I will take that as You do not deny that Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
Yeah, I'm not. I think, let me just be clear. We have substantial work to do, and I've made it in improving our electoral processes. It's part of national security, and I feel strongly about that.
One of the things that, again, this will come.
So he's not admitting that Joe Biden won. What he's saying is that he was certified. He didn't say certified illegally. He withheld making further assertions in some way, as he did very well. And I have to give Jay Clayton a lot of props because he withheld his arguments knowing full well that whatever tomorrow brings, tomorrow will be a new day. A new day in the 2020 stolen election. A new day from this point that the assailing arguments, the providential, let's just say, discussions about Joe Biden won, whereas Mike Lindell was endorsed today, came out on Bannon Show and said there's over 6 million votes that Joe Biden illegally and fraudulently obtained to steal the election. And there you are. And as we continue on with this operation and this discussion about what? The fear and loathing in D.C. will be hyperbolic. It will continue to permeate, to discuss this as we move this fucking thing forward. Let's continue on. Here's another thing from Eric Daugherty regarding Jay Clayton's, hearing in some way. Jay Clayton from SDNY lawyer is here to be nominated for OD&I position. Now, Pulte is in a limited time. They want to get this guy in thinking he's one of us and we can control him. Okay? Pulte, bad. Gotta go. So whatever Pulte's going to drop tomorrow, okay, will be the last week of information that will be unfurled out before we get this guy. And whatever you think about this guy, we don't even know what this guy is going to be. But apparently, Tom Cotton, Warner, they like this guy and they think they can control him. Let me show you right now. Senate Democrats are fuming at the U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, issuing subpoenas to find the leaker who dropped the national security information about the New York Times. So right now, to give you a heads up, this is about switching the planes out of Turkey and UK. The FBI director, Kash Patel, and Susie Wiles are what? Collecting phones. Phones from people that are operating inside the White House for data and transmission of this evidence, who's leaking this to the Times in some way. Yeah. And they're going to go after and find these people who are what? Disseminating fake and gay information. Let's put it this way. Even not just incredulous, but threatening information that can cause them harm. If you're sitting on a plane and you work for the New York Times, or you're sitting there, you should be one of these reporters thinking, who's these people leaking this information? I could be fucking killed on this plane if this plane didn't have the viable, let's just say, defense mechanisms, as it was alluded about the bridge plane from Qatar. It wasn't outfitted completely as the previous planes were, that's over 40 years old. But yet it flies with a contingent of F-15s, Strike Force, and many other planes all the time. You shouldn't worry about it. There's so many planes that are traveling with President Trump. It's not. But they're saying right now that the whole thing of the leaking, because it's classified. Do you understand? Who leaked classified information? Do you understand? That's a felony. And thus, you should go to jail for it. I don't care if you're a reporter. If you're leaking classified information, just as like we have senators and congressmen, you should go to jail.
Without getting into the investigation, the protocols require consultation with the Department of Justice in Washington, and we followed the protocols.
And did anybody in Washington D.C.
and what?
Did anybody in Washington D.C. suggest to you or anybody on your team that you should issue subpoenas in this case? following the AP
Listen to that.
reporting, following the AP reporting of the president coming back on an airplane that was unsuitable for the protection and the defense of the president of the United States.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details. What I can tell you is that we followed those procedures, and those procedures, for the reasons that I believe firmly, and you believe, protecting the freedom of the press, being the least intrusive possible, require consultation.
And I would say, Mr. Chairman, I know my time is up, but the reason this is relevant to, I think, a lot of us, or certainly to me, is that this question of being able to speak truth to power, in the context of intel, I think is very simple.
Without
speaking truth to power. The bottom line is there was intelligent leaks, whether it came from inside sources, probably, that are leaking out to the New York Times. That's the bottom line. And that undercuts and creates a soft underbelly, a weakness, okay, to happen to what? Motivate people to kill the president of the United States aboard the bridge plane, which is outfitted with a certain amount of minutia to defend and guard against repelling incoming missiles or other threats. That's why the plane travels around with a contingent of different planes and operations. But to suggest in some way that this whole thing is just retarded, Mr. Bennett is retarded, but to suggest in some way this is not a threat and that the media, okay, should surrender their sources, which they shouldn't, because I will defend the media in this matter because they are protected from giving up their sources. However, there's other ways to find who is leaking to these people and go after those people who are the sources directly. And I believe that they are going to find all those people that are inside the White House or the intelligentsia that are what? That are manifesting some type of living action to take out the president. And if you're the media that are sitting on the plane, that are traveling the press pool, you should be asking yourself, maybe we should rethink this. Maybe we should understand that, hey, look, my life, my accountability, my viability in some way is on the table here. You should be out there, media, going after the New York Times and saying, you know what, I understand you don't want to release your sources in some way, but let's be clear-eyed about it. You're also putting me in direct threat because if something happens to that plane and I'm on there, well, then you're responsible for that. And I think that's how the reaction should be. And that's how the reaction that I would proffer if I was a pool reporter, if I was on there and saying, wait a minute, New York Times, what are you doing? So calling them out, not forcing them to give up their sources, because I'm not asking them to do it. What I'm saying is in some way, you need to what? Acquiesce into a certain manner without, let's just say, manufacturing or benefiting off the what? This information that can get a lot of people killed, including you and I that sit on a press pool plane. I don't sit on a press pool plane. But what I'm trying to say is that there should be more pushback against the New York Times, which is a garbage paper owned by some third billionaire Mexican. So you can understand why that's garbage. So here we are. Dick Durbin today. We're going to get into all the dirt slop, milksop hearings. Anybody doesn't know what milksop is? It's indecisive. It lacks courage. It's yellow belly. It's poltron, cravenly weak, an extreme contemptible lack of courage and resolve, as Mark Wayne Mullen has demonstrated himself just recently, and President Trump needs to fire them because he should not have Freddy cats. He should not have yellow belly people in his administration that can't do the job. He is a garbage human. I don't care if he's friends with him. President Trump was friends with Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is dead. Okay? So if you're thinking that you're friends with President Trump, like good friends and stuff like that, and you serve in his administration at the pleasure of him, not Senator Lindsey Graham, you think about it. You should think about your own viability, your own potential future, and how and weigh that. Mark Wayne Mullen should have never accepted this position because he would have stayed in the Senate. But he did, and now he's going to be gone very soon. Mark my words, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike, you're out. Dick Durbin demands Todd Blanche go down sit down with Epstein victims in a heated exchange. We're going to hold you to it. Let me tell you something right now. All these Epstein victims, 10 of them that were sitting there today, I watched this today, it's all bullshit. It's all a front. It's all a narrative. It's all contrived. Because if any of these people had any, let's just say, scenario that they were trafficked via Epstein, they would hire their lawyers or they go to the Justice Department and seek this. No, they're not. They're looking for a cash payout. They're looking for this because they are proactively involved and engaged working with Epstein. Whether they're 6 degrees of separation or not, these people are full of shit. In fact, the whole Epstein lie and narrative continues to grow and grow, and I no longer believe it. I no longer believe it anymore. I think the Epstein thing is a part of a greater grift that happened to have a lot of sex traffickers and workers and all these other people that are under the umbrella, that he was the massive pimp to all these people and that he was selling that type of sex to many different people to blackmail. Okay? The bottom line is we're not seeing it, but this whole thing was an orchestration to try to get Todd Blanche to say, yeah, I'm going to sit down, but they have people that sit down with them. It's all a farce.
10 individuals who
all
were exploited and abused by Mr. Epstein. They are here today. None of them have had a chance to speak to anyone in the department or FBI, though they've asked repeatedly.
That's bullshit. They had every opportunity. There's an actual engagement with the Justice Department to go through. Why didn't they do it the Biden administration? Why are they highlighting it now? Okay? If there was ample times by then, why is it the only administration that is doing this, that is saying, wait a minute, we had an opportunity to do it. And President Trump set up the Transparency Act. We're over 3 million documents. But the rest of the documents cannot be released because this motherfucker, okay, is helped block it. So the question is, why is this motherfucker talking to the Attorney General or the future Attorney General and suggesting that, hey, look, why don't you sit down with him? Why would he need to sit down with these people? They can easily come to the FBI or the Justice Department and fill out a request and discuss whether they have a lawyer or not and be appointed. This whole thing was a gotcha thing. It was garbage. And you know what? All these people make me sick. This motherfucker right here on the left, Senator Dick Durbin, he needs to fucking go away and disappear. You know what I mean? Hopefully he will. Hopefully he will.
So can I get your word under oath?
Can I get your
within the
word?
next 30 days.
Here's my
you
word.
will
Suck my
personally
dick.
Sit down with these
Suck
10
my
victims
dick.
and hear their case in terms of what needs to be done by the Department of Justice.
Fuck you!
Chairman, I appreciate them being here today.
That's what he should say.
I also have somebody from my office who's spent her entire career working on cases like Mr. Epstein's. She's in charge of our task force investigating human trafficking. She's available to talk to them.
She can sit right next to you. She can sit right next to you.
Why?
I have never said I will not meet with survivors.
Will you meet with these 10 survivors? I'm asking you on the record.
If they have lawyers, as you know,
Here
I'm
you go.
prohibited from meeting directly with them.
Ooh.
I have met with counsel for survivors, as has many people in the Department of
So
Justice,
you
over
won't?
30. But if they are represented by counsel, we
Why?
will work with their counsel. If they don't have a lawyer, I will
There you
certainly
go.
make arrangements to make sure the right people at the Department of Justice meet
Will you
with
get
them.
it done?
Absolutely.
Will you get it done within the next 30 days that each
I
of
will
these
get it done
survivors?
today if that's necessary. I mean, my point is there's somebody here who can meet with them today, get their information.
But see,
arranged
he
to meet
doesn't
with them.
care
I think
about
you
that.
ought to be in the room.
See?
Pardon me?
I think you ought to be in the room because you ought to hear this. You had,
Why do they want him in the room? Ask yourself, why is it that they want the Attorney General to be in the room discussing this? Ask yourself that question.
singular responsibility for these files. There was a delay in meeting the statutory requirement of disclosure. You were involved in that. I think you ought to be part of this.
I am definitely part of it, and I have been from day one.
And it will be done within the next 30 days.
I can keep on repeating myself.
They directly want to connect him with the PSYOP and hold him accountable so they can force him out. Just like they think they forced out Pam Bondi, but I think Pam Bondi shot herself in the foot with Bindergate.
but I said it could get done as soon as today. It could have gotten done last week. We remain available to meet with any victim or their representative at any time.
Will you notify the committee when you've done this?
We notify. See?
That would be prohibited by law if they're talking about an ongoing investigation.
I'm asking you if you'll
We're trying to
notify the
entrap
committee
him.
that you
It
met with
depends
the
on what they
survivors.
said. I'm not sure I'm allowed to notify you.
He's
if
telling
there's an
you
ongoing
they're trying to
investigation.
entrap him.
Well, you're dancing on the head of a pin here.
No,
I'm
he's
not
not.
dancing on any pin
You
at
have
all.
these survivors
He's
who have the
letting them know
courage
this
to
is
come
the law.
before this committee, have the courage to tell their
It's the
terrible
law.
stories, how they were exploited. Don't you think it's important that we have a prompt response by our government to these survivors?
No, I don't care.
Absolutely. And
I don't
there
care.
will be a prompt response.
I don't fucking
my
care.
heart breaks for every survivor.
My heart
every
doesn't,
victim of Mr.
'cause I think
Epstein.
they're all bullshit
Absolutely.
artists.
And I would love to prosecute anybody that did any harm to these
Will you
victims.
meet with
So
them within the
absolutely.
next 30 days? The
Why
last
would
time
you
I
meet
asked
with
the
them? I
question,
would
you
stay
could say
far
yes,
away
you
from
can.
these
Keep on
people.
answering it the same way. I can meet with them. My staff will meet with them. We have a staff member here
If you
today
can
who
meet with them, will you meet with them?
I'm not sure what you're looking for me to say. As I said,
Yes, is what I'm looking for.
there are, if they're represented by counsel, I'm not allowed to meet with them
Exactly.
directly, as you know.
They want him to break the
I
law.
assure you, the FBI,
Yes, they're
who are
badgering.
experts in this space,
The FBI should be
prosecutors who are
interviewing these
experts in
people,
this space,
not the
and
Justice
me, if
Department.
necessary, will absolutely meet with them. I promise you this.
I'm moving on. The bottom line is they want to entrap him. Okay, that's why Pam Bondi says I'm not going to answer these questions. I'm not going to go through it, even though that she fucked up the whole thing with the Binergate that JD Vance released today, and explained on the Daily Mail and many other things. Let's see. Okay, all right, let's move on. Okay, I'm done with a lot of this other things, so let's just move forward and stuff. Let's say hello over. Yeah, distraction. Good to see everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a GoPro. Support the platform. If you are in Rumble Rant, if you want to help us out with Rumble Rants, you can help it buy me a coffee. It will put up the widget for the show. You know, you can go to the Cash App if you want to do. Support the platform. I'm putting a lot of stuff out there. A lot of stuff. I don't really talk about it much, but I hope you want to do your best. Like, share, and subscribe. Do your part to help support this platform. Let's continue on to our gift that we can. We have millions of missing children across America and other countries, but Epstein is the boogeyman. Give me a break. Yeah, Sean Joe, thank you for the cookie and the can and another cookie. Let me tell you something right now. That whole diatribe of discussion was bogus. Okay, the whole thing about Epstein and the whole thing, it's all bullshit. They just want to entrap him into some type of discovery motions that their lawyers or other people that will force upon him, staying far away from it. You can't believe these people. I don't care about any of the victims because I don't believe there are any victims, okay? Not the victims that we could say that are alive, that are provable, that still exist. These people have some type of connection with him, okay? And if they do, they were a part of the enterprise, so I don't trust any of them, and I don't really care. I don't care. Someone said to me, "You're a fucking heartless bastard." And I said, "Yes, I am." Prove to me that these people weren't working with Epstein. And now they want to what? Backpedal and get their cut because they know there's money. They smell money. And so they're trying to say, well, I was trafficked. Well, if you were trafficked, prove it. Why didn't you go to the FBI a long time ago? Why did you wait till now? And now you're seeking what? Restitution and damages. It's all about fees. It's all get paid out. You were a part of something, okay? A culture that you participated in. But that's the problem. The reason why a lot of them haven't gone to it, because they know they could be implicated as complicit participants in this matter. So fuck them and die. They are the scum. And that's why he's distancing himself from all that. So here we are. Ossoff to Clayton. What is going on here? You said at the beginning of this, you have an obligation to be honest and forthright. The Jay Clayton hearing today was fantastic, and I'm showing you a ton of stuff. Listen.
Are you aware
this is great
that Director
this guy
Gabbard
is
was
fucking
present
done.
at the Fulton County raid
He
in
is
Georgia
finished.
earlier this year?
He knows his time is up.
You discussed that with me yesterday in your office.
Are you aware that Director Gabbard was present at the Fulton County raid earlier this year?
You brought it to me, my attention.
What is going
yesterday.
on here? You've said at the beginning of this,
What's
you have an
going on here?
obligation to be
No,
honest and
you're
forthright
saying
with the
it-
committee.
no,
I'm
you're-
asking a
Look
very
at the
simple
broads
question.
in the
Are you
back.
aware
Look
that
at all
Director
the
Gabbard
broads
was
in the
present
back.
at the Fulton County raid earlier this year? Yes or no? Are you aware?
I was.
You won't answer that question
I
either.
just said I was made aware of it by you yesterday.
Look at them all in the back.
The first time
at their
you learned
faces.
that Director Gabbard was present at that raid was in my office yesterday.
It was the first time.
Look at that bitch in the
In my
back.
recollection, I've thought about it recently. Now, was I aware of it before?
What?
I'm going to replay that. Listen.
In my recollection, I've thought about it recently. Now, was I aware of it before?
What?
You brought it to my attention yesterday.
Okay.
I had not.
So
thought,
you had not known
I had
until
not. I had not thought about it until you brought it to my attention.
Watch
your
the broads in the
answers
back.
lack credibility. Your testimony lacks
Right.
credibility. You're being evasive and you're not being candid or forthright. And everybody across the country is going to watch
He's
this
scared
and know
shitless,
that.
Sean
Are
Joe.
you aware that former Director Gabbard testified that her presence at the raid was, quote, requested by the president?
I'm not aware of that until now.
Wow. And you're right, Sean Joe. I got more about that. We'll be covering about the senators and how do we expel them. I'll cover a lot of that. I got to move forward because there's so much commentary. So I got a lot of videos. I don't want to belabor this. I want to move into certain discussions that we'll have it. Democrat Senator comes over Overton thought that he set the perfect trap for DNI nominee Clayton, but the only problem was that Clayton saw the political theater coming from a mile away and refused to take the bait. Let's play a little bit at this more.
Who won the 2020 election?
There we go.
I'm not going to do this with you.
I'm not going to do this with you. That's part of the title.
This is a
I'm
job
not doing
interview.
this. I'm not doing it.
We've established that you have an obligation to
pretty
be
interesting
honest and forthright.
If he's not doing this, he's setting this up. He's making sure that, hey, whatever Pulte pulls out, whatever is coming out, they all know it was rigged. This whole fucking thing was stolen under the guise of what? Many different participations, particles, okay? Particles that were what? We're talking about COVID, the end of COVID. You talk about Russia to China, many other particulars that were involved. This whole thing, January 6th, the narrative, the lie. This motherfucker knows his time's up. He's fraudulently been in what? He's an imposter. Part of a stolen election, and Georgia and the manifestation of the truth, whether it will some way exercise President Trump's 11,715 votes to help recertify him in a different matter. Probably need 2 states, but it will show that Georgia was fraudulently certified and 2 senators were put in place, installed fraudulently. And it's game over, and I'm going to explain their demise.
With the committee, yes, you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee.
Yes.
Who won the 2020 election?
Like I said, I'm not going to get into that with you.
But you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee.
What a
Is
hypocrite.
anything that I just said not honest or
What a
forthright?
fucking
Yes, you're not
hypocrite.
being
This
honest
fucking
or
guy.
forthright. Who won the 2020
I think I've answered
election?
the question. We can keep doing this.
Well, we're going to keep doing it because you're not being honest and
No,
forthright.
I'm
with
not
the
going to
committee.
engage in the theater.
It's a simple question, Mr. Clayton.
And I've answered
Who
it.
won the 2020 presidential
Why do they keep
election?
asking that?
I've answered it.
You're here asking for the support of senators to lead America's intelligence community. We've established
so
that
to-
you have an obligation
yeah.
to be honest and forthright with
It's
this
fucking-
committee and with the American public, but you refuse to answer a simple matter of fact about the 2020 election. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
Then answer the question. Who won
I
the
have
2020 election?
I have answered the question.
Answer it. What is your answer?
I've given you my answer.
What is your answer?
He sits in
You
silence.
refuse to answer a basic question about who won a presidential election,
No,
but you asked to lead America's intelligence community? Isn't it humiliating to be unable
He already told
to
Warner that Joe Biden was certified illegally. The FBI, cybersecurity, they certified that election It's on them. It's all going to fall back. He's already answered the question. He's not going to give this guy who has no viability. He is a fraud, okay? He's a fraud in the Senate. That's why he's basically saying, fuck you. I don't have to answer to you. You are not a senator. You're not legitimate, and fuck you and die. Yep. Garbage, garbage, garbage. We're moving on. Fuck that guy, Ossoff. Fuck Warnock in so many different ways. Fuck all these people. They're done. Their time is up. It's going to be great. I hope the EBS system is broadcasted loudly to everybody to hear. I hope that, here you go, emergency broadcast system, President Trump coming in there. I'm going to show you the proof about the stolen election. How many people are going to buy it? How many people are going to push forward? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to show us, how they're going to convince people it was stolen. But the bottom line is simply whatever evidence they're going to produce, whatever stuff that is going to be detailed and oriented out, nonetheless and nevertheless, people will see it. The question is, how many of a greater swath of Americans will bifurcate ABC, CBS, and all the other fucking NBC so we can go through? It would be best you go through the emergency broadcast system to show we have a major alert and President Trump is speaking. That's the only way. And I'm going to show you Mark Kelly, another piece of shit that is corrupt as part of the stolen election. Can you tell me Joe Biden was certified as the winner of the 2020 election? This is another one.
Why Joe Biden
this is great.
Was certified.
Why is this all being discussed now? Election. Why is this all being talked about now?
I'm going back to my constitutional law here, but I don't want to continue to have debate about this, but I believe he had the most electoral votes.
There you go.
So he won the election.
No.
He followed our process, had the most electoral votes, was declared the winner. And
who has the most electoral votes? Is it the person?
So why did he answer Kelly's question and not Ossoff? Because he regards Kelly as a legitimate senator. Do you understand that? That's the point. And so he's answering that in a different frame, but he's not giving Kelly what he wants. He's just saying the votes were certified, blah, blah, blah. But he's recognizing him as a legitimate senator to get qualified those marks. Consider that and understand. Don't let it get to the can. That Kelly should be swinging from a high tree. Of course. Look at those alien ears.
Person that wins or the person that loses?
I think that's your characterization. I'm not going to continue.
The reason why we struggle with this, and I think it's especially important in the job you're nominated for, is because it seems that folks who are nominated for these positions just fundamentally refuse to disagree with something the president says. And the problem I have with this is he isn't in the room today. You're going to be in a room with him many times. And at times, you should have a difference of opinion. And if you can't disagree with him when he's not in the room, are you going to be able to disagree with him when you're sitting across from him in the Oval Office or the Situation Room? That's what I struggle with, because this job is different. This job, it's not about softening the edges when the truth is unpleasant. It's about delivering information and making sure the president understands that information. And by the way, people risk their lives to get this information. And if it's not transmitted to the president, if he doesn't understand it, I mean, there's going to be disagreements. We expect that. But I really struggle with this, especially in your position, because you can't disagree with him on this, because he doesn't like the fact that he lost in 2020.
And that's the bottom line. They're trying to highlight that as a distraction, as a diversion tactic. They're trying to say, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he says tomorrow. It doesn't matter. That's why they're pushing back. But I think the clear delineation, how you can dissect this, how you can bifurcate, how Jay Clayton, looked at John Ossoff and said, fuck you. You're not legitimate. I know you're not legitimate. You're a garbage human. You're a bagel without the schmear. And you don't deserve to sit there, okay, and then question me, okay, and then have the audacity to force me to what? Surrender at your will. That's why he answered Mark Kelly's question a lot more, let's just say, vigorously. But he was comfortable talking to Mark Kelly, Senator Kelly, because he looked at him as a little bit more respect, because apparently, from his point of view, he was nominated to that position legally. Do you understand the difference? That's the point. Whether you buy it or not doesn't matter. All right, moving on. I'm going to get into the justices. We're going to go through the fucking whiny, bitchy justices of the United States, Kagan, and fucking what? This dirt slop, Amy Coney Barrett, that are pimping for money. These cunts, my God, they make me sick. Supreme Court Justice Coney Barrett told the House committee that the threat level against her and other federal agents is really high. Boo-hoo! As she testified at the court's budget request. Those statistics sound abstract, but being on receiving end of this is not Barrett told Barrett and Justice Kagan are Supreme Court justices that testified today because they faced a lot of shit. The Supreme Court is asking Congress to appropriate $228 million for fiscal 2027, a nearly 10% rise for the $207.8 million appropriated for 2026. The increase reflects higher spending. I mean, honestly, my God, I mean, the spending on all this stuff. If you would just do your fucking job, and I got a lot of quotes and text messages from X that I'm going to pull up, stuff that I said, stuff that I wanted people to hear and discuss. I am absolutely disgusted. These people make me sick. They are the dirt slop, okay? They are the dirt slop that represents the Supreme Court, okay? They're the weakness. They're the feckless. They are the milksop. The milksop. That's what they are. Justin Coney Barrett rips the people threatening her life and her family. Listen, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. And I'm going to discuss a lot of different things. Barrett now is the best at her house to use this at any time. Leftists are evil. All she did was what? Invigorate and create more vitriol and hatred for the justices, for people to be contemptible, to move forward on assassinating them. And I stand here at the We Are Right show. None of these people, okay? Even people I fucking can't stand, including Amy Coney Barrett and Kagan. I don't want to see these people assassinated one so bit. There are crazy cuckoo people just like they did with Kavanaugh. And these people, whether they need protection or not, all right, you know what? Instead of what? Acting as Congress to do the law for them, you should actually what? Disarm the law as it's perceived. To sit here and say that the 14th Amendment, Section 1 through 3, that you're allowed people to shit a squat of a child that will grow up to hate us, to come back and kill us in some way, and they come over the fence and stuff, and you're worried that your child answers the door because the police are swatting you because of all this other stuff and is going to get tagged in some way because you have to explain about some bird vest that you're wearing and stuff. Please, spare me that diatribe. What about the rest of the American citizens in this country that were murdered and raped and tortured by third world legal scum? You need to resign, Coney Barrett. You are a scum. Fuck Hayden. She's garbage anyway. So I don't care about that garbage human anyway. But Coney Barrett is such a disgusting human being. I fucking hate her and her dirt slop third world children.
Things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak.
You're a pussy.
My security detail sent me home with a
You're a
bulletproof
pussy.
vest.
Manage your problems.
House, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on the table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son
This is
was standing in the
Milksop.
doorway of my bedroom. And he wanted to know
This
what
is
it
Freddy
was
Cat.
and why I had it.
Cravenly
And
weak.
I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that
Lack
performing a
imagination.
service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I It's also been reported in the news that roughly 6 weeks ago, I was the victim of a swatting incident. At that point, my teenage son, one of my teenage sons, opened the door to go out with friends, and
You're setting yourself up and your sons to be what? Eviscerated. Why are your kids answering the door? You make me sick. You are setting yourself up and putting yourself in a position of weakness, of fecklessness, of milksop, indecisive, that lacks courage. This is why and who you are, because you have caved. You cravenly weakened at the knees to these particulars and to these partitions. You lack courage and resolve. You are a disgrace to the Supreme Court. You are an embarrassment. And what you're doing is you're incentivizing more vitriol against you and everybody else of the justice that Supreme Court just sits there because you have no lack of what? You lack faith and courage and discernment. Instead of sitting there pandering, give me money and pimping out for a cash, fucking what? Oh my God, you people make me sick. Fuck this broad. She gets what she deserves. And I hope, I pray, and I do, that none of these women or anybody on the Supreme Court justice is faced with that type of whatever resolution. They have to fear for their life. I worry about Justice Thomas, Scalia especially. Many, I worry about certain people on there. I mean, look at what Kavanaugh went through. I'm not really worried about her because I don't think that she has anything to worry about. There are people right now. She is caved to the narrative. She is a garbage human being, and she has sold out her position, okay, and her principles and her courage are in the Supreme Court to give in to what? This whole scenario. And thus to come and beg for money. You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment. And I say this. This is what I put on. Go to my X account. Please like, share, and subscribe over there. And I said this. Such cognitive dissonance, ladies and gentlemen, to think that a Supreme Court justice who's supposed to be highly intelligent, right? That we look at, like Amy C. Barrett, could not envision, think about that, could not envision, predict, or foretold, okay, that a life contract, that's what she has, position of employment at the highest court in the land of this world, came without challenges, especially related to security measures and threats. As she detailed there, she highlighted certain juxtapositions about people that were threatened, that were killed, or what have you in some way. But she didn't have some type of discernment, a future, let's just say, prediction, a prevalent argument to say, hey, look, if I'm going to take this position, it comes with a lot of stuff. Let me tell you something right now. She is such bullshit. She is bunk. She is weak. She is fake and phony. And you notice how she looks completely different. This woman is not healthy. She's absolutely losing her mind. And I think she's deranged. And I think that she's going to resign. I think she will. Amy Coney Barrett, here you go. Rulings 2021, 81% conservative. Threat surge after Dobbs ruling, 2022 to 2025, 55% conservative. Any justice that's too scared to rule on the basis of the law should resign. Thank you. And wokeness. End of story. She needs to resign. She is a garbage human being. She is feckless. She is not strong. She doesn't, in some way, I think, move the needle of something of character that doesn't persevere. And I'll also say this, and you can, in some way attack me if you like, but I look about Aesop's fable. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Aesop's fable, but one of his fables were the town mouse and the country mouse. And the two mice realized that while a luxurious lifestyle has perks, yes, it does, the peace and safety of a simple life are far more valuable. And I'm wondering right now, which mouse is she? Is she the town mouse and the country mouse? Or is she wishing that she wasn't the town mouse and that she went back to being the country mouse? Consider that. That's Aesop fable. A lot of good stuff that I'm thinking right now. And I think that in some way that she should resign. I think that eventually, if they decide not to, in some way, partition these funds for them in some way, that she will be forced in some way to resign. And as she should, because she feels that the threat is higher than what she needs to do as a Supreme Court justice, than her only viability as a caretaker, okay, as a trad wife, should go back to what? Servicing her family. Take a job with a white shoe law firm. Any person will hire you. You can go on the circuits, speak, make money, probably make more money than the $250,000 you make. You could do whatever you want. You just don't need to be there. And I implore you, Amy Coney Barrett, the fake Catholic, the weak, feckless Catholic. This is why females, Catholics, and many other people should not be on the Supreme Court. You can call me a racist. You can call me xenophobic. You can call me a chauvinist. I don't fucking care. She is the prime example. She makes Sandra Day O'Connor look like Antonin Scalia. Yeah. And she was no Antonin Scalia. She actually was more conservative than Amy Coney Barrett, but she turned out to be in the same light. Catholic, weak, feckless, hiring women to be on the justice courts is a mistake. Is it racist? Is it sexist? Maybe. But if I was the president of the United States, no woman would be in my purview to be appointed that position. No, they wouldn't. I'm sorry. They wouldn't. Too many different things that are underwhelming and past predictions of the future. And if you're a Catholic, right away, that's a no-go. So Hans Machini, the fact that Barrett decided to appear in public and demonstrate how this intimidation tactics work, not merely against her, but against her family as well, makes the situation much worse. That's what I was trying to prescribe here. The only principal response would be for Barrett to step aside, but she won't. Mike Davis' translation is now publicly admitting she's compromised by threats and her family. That's the point. That's exactly the point. Everything that she did yesterday is basically going to be looked upon as a compromise. Okay, is that she's been controlled, she's been cajoled, she's being blackmailed via threats, maybe being paid out by book deals. Either way, you cannot look at her in not so dissimilar fashion as Kagan. Kagan's garbage. We know where she came from. The point being is simply Amy Coney Barrett is now revealed who she is. Okay? And she should not be rewarded. The Senate, the House Appropriations, they should not reward them with this type of funds. They shouldn't. Hire your own security. Good luck. Duck and weave. Wear vests. I don't fucking care. If you make it out, that's great. If you don't, hey, there's always a president that can nominate someone else. And if you feel that your life is more important, which it should be, than being a Supreme Court justice, then resign. Maybe use your talent somewhere else. And that's my point. Decide that your talent is not as what? Sacrificial as you're basically propelling out there to be paid as a pimp artist. So we, as American citizens, have to support you in any way. I don't give a fuck. Hire your own. Where's my security? Where's everybody else's security? There is none. Good luck. That's what I say to you. Good luck. And I hope that your future life has meaning, because I don't really fucking care. I don't wish you harm, because I don't wish any Supreme Court justice harm, as we don't do on the We Are Right show. I don't want to see any of them harm. But if you cannot control this type of petulant behavior, and if you feel that you can't do the job, then you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there. And I don't really fucking care. That's my point. Man up. Clarence Thomas, I'd rather die than withdraw. This is why Clarence Thomas, probably one of the few black men in this country, And I say this loosely because we have a black culture problem. And you look where this guy grew up in this time frame. This black man who is, let's just say, gotten through racism during the time of it. Let's face it, the senators at that time were racist against them. They did not want him to be what? Put on the Supreme Court. They were racist. They did not want him. They didn't. They were racist bastards. Yes, they were. This black man who went through not such vitriolic sexual assaults, racist epithets, he went through all of it. And he stood strong. He's the only man. Let me tell you right now, there's few black men in the history of our country that has stood tall, that put up a fight, defended his what? Sovereignty and his self-respect, that pushed all this back. And we're sitting here talking about a fucking wimp Catholic of this broad Amy Coney Barrett. Okay? This cunt vagina class of weakness. And this man who's faced real death and destruction, real death threats. Listen to this.
I'd rather die than withdraw. If they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me.
That's a black man saying that at a time where there are a lot of racist senators saying, we don't want you.
Still like to serve on the Supreme
Court. Look who that was.
I'd rather die than withdraw from the process.
Boom. Good for you.
Not for the purpose of serving on the Supreme Court, but for the purpose of not being driven out of this process. I would not be scared. I don't like bullies. I've never run from bullies.
Wow.
I never cry uncle, and I'm not going to cry uncle today, whether I want to be on the Supreme Court or not.
Yeah!
So I thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally.
Me and my family.
They have required me to, my children, to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house.
And her kids can't handle it. Let me tell you something right now. This is the woke mindset. Catholic woke mindset. I can't. And a black man that grew up in a time where racism was out of control. He was threatened, death threats on this guy's life left and right. And he's been, I don't fucking care. No, I'm not fucking backing down. And you have this disgusting Catholic. And she is. She's an embarrassment. A weak, feckless Catholic. Oh, my kids are going to see a bulletproof vest. Oh, my God. And then my third world dirt slop adopted children from Haiti that I stole, you know, they're going to have a different impression. Fuck you. You see it? She's a garbage human. Weak, feckless milksop. Garbage human. You can't do the job. You should not be there. And that's why you're an embarrassment to the United States Supreme Court. And everybody sees who you are. And you know what? I don't care about your fucking children. My tax dollars don't afford you the luxury to protect your children. Hire fucking security. Okay? Have a maid, have somebody in the house to take care of your kids. Okay? If you can't handle this heat, you need to get the fuck out of the kitchen, broad. You can't. I don't think you can. And now everybody sees that you are, let's just put it this way, ineffective. And that your, let's just say, pretentiousness to showcase that you are weak because you are now quartered by the masses that are like throwing more vitriol at you. You what? You bow. You curtsy. And you say yes. And you give them, Antifa, and many other different groups, more power, more quarter to attack the Supreme Court. You are the reason the Supreme Court is weak. I don't care about Kagan or Ketanji Brown Braxton, who is fucking fake and gay anyway. You are the example of what weakness represents. And your weakness spreads like a virus, a disease. And that disease, okay, brings down countries, brings down governments, and undermines the judicial process. And I will not say anything more about her, but yet give quarter to a very bold black man, okay, of the Supreme Court, who has my support, my respect. He's not some third world shit slob. He's not one of these people. He doesn't. I think that in some ways that we, a lot of people look at black people and say, all right, they're the N-word of the niggers and stuff. And they're not. There are many people of that caliber that are not, that are high earning potential people. And they're not part of that culture. There's 14 to 34-year-olds or 40-year-olds that are basically whatever. You have so many different subsets of a culture that is basically gone. And this is a man who sits on the Supreme Court that has everybody in awe. He does. He does. He has every white man and President Trump in awe. Why? Because of his strength, because of how he carries himself, because he's not scared, because of what he went through. You can tell a lot about a person by what they're willing to endure. That's why President Trump is so popular. Consider that. Let's move on. Okay. I guess I got to fast track a couple of things right now. We might go a little long, so brace with me, and I'll have some carryover. Yeah, look at her eyes. She's totally woke. She's lost her mind. She is scared shit, Drew Tarrant. Anybody says she's not batshit crazy because she's scared, she is scared. She is wholly scared. I don't know if she's scared for her children or her family, but she's completely what? Succumb to the fear. And what happens when you succumb to the dark side of fear and anger? That's what you become. You become something that you're not. If you can able to bypass it in some way, I'm not scared. I walk outside at middle of the night, walking my dog. I'm not scared. I know in some way I can repel borders like that. I don't even think twice. I don't bat an eye. I think about in some way how I would do things, but I don't think about why I would do things. I would just let it go. So the last refuge. So there's so much rug pulling, malicious scams, smoky mirrors, fog of war, red herrings, flooding the zone, diversionary tactics, perception management, deception management, astroturfing, and active measures that are being employed right now because of tomorrow. The people actually doing the election investigation work had no idea what this Thursday development was about. It comes directly from the White House, not as an outcome of their finished investigative findings. The government people who really matter. Let me blow this up because you need to see this. The government people who really matter, the people with their hands on the election and investigative details, are not part of this. Think about what he's saying here. Solomon organized the telephone call to tell some of the ancillary election review people about the purpose and intent of Thursday's night address. Solomon walked through some of the evidence that will be highlighted. He's basically undercutting Solomon. Everyone on the call Monday realized this is John Solomon operation, pushing by him inside the White House. There you go. As a special government employee. Yes, some of the White House effort is likely driven by the realization that the deep inside bureaucracy, the administrative state, the resistance is not going to help them reveal the damaging information. FBI agents assigned to desist on the election information material literally work against the interests, obviously. So it seems like the White House is doing so. This Thursday announcement, partly because the clock is ticking and they need to change the dynamic. Additionally, the never was competent Kash Patel is also on his way out. Not well regarded, so he's willing to do anything to try and get back into the good graces and position of influence. Patel has been Solomon's main T2 source. Election investigations are still investigating, and John Solomon thinks Trump wants action, so let's organize something dramatic. Hence, dump tons of files, show something is being done, and maybe crowdsourcing. Oh, taking election seriously again, and the left will use this as a hammer to ridicule anyone who tries that. That's what's at stake. 100% SGE John Solomon operation. Now, that comes from the last refuge. I ask you in the chat, what do you think about that? Newsblast puts this out. I think this is Enoch or El Naki puts this out. He's on Pill too. I think it's El Inaki or Inakum. President Trump is expected to make major revelations in his primetime speech Thursday night about foreign election interference. Multiple sources say he will disclose shocking new intelligence. You see the bifurcation, the difference that's happening. FBI, CIA, ODNI showing foreign meddling in the recent U.S. election, including 2020. There's a lot of people think this is going to be a dud. Other people think this is going to be a highlight. We just don't know. This goes beyond Russia and points to China and other actors. The intelligence reportedly includes plots involving fraudulent mail-in ballots designed to help Biden. Again, we don't know. Sources indicate this was a deliberate cover-up with former FBI Director Christopher Wray and other intelligence operations officials accused of failing to properly investigate or disclose the threats at the time. One 2020 FBI case file flagged China's efforts to influence the election, but it was reportedly not pursued. Directors Ratcliffe and Patel are expected to certify the evidence and back up their findings. Okay, these lines up with a lot of the Q drops predicted years ago. Followers of that won't be shocked. Okay, so he's basically saying that you'll be able to highlight and detail and commensurate the ultimate connection of what it will be done. And you're hearing the last refuge saying it's all bullshit. It's all garbage. We're not going to really hear much. Okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I got no problem with that. Like I said, you in the chat are able to decide. It's very spooky. It's odd. Wayne Alaroot says the Trump presidency is about to declare a national security emergency for elections. Came out yesterday. And liberal media are panicked and hysterical, and all starts Thursday night with a presidential address to the nation. I'm going to leave it there. Again, is there going to be an executive order signed in national emergency? Well, we have executive order 13818, as the leader said. We have 13848. We also have, which was signed September 12th, 2018, regarding the foreign interference. I think we're going to hear about that. We're also going to hear about many other different things that are not in the popular, let's just say, nomenclature or germane. I think that's where we're going in some way. I think we're also going to hear about subject matter that is off, let's just say, off the path, off the beating path. So as it's being described, as it's being parlayed out, there is a potpourri, as it's being discussed through Axios and many other things, of many salient points that are going to be addressed at 9 o'clock. We will be here at 8. We will be covering it at 9. We will go through the White House directly. And if there is an emergency broadcast system, I can't wait to get into that. I hope there is. There should be. I think there should be in some ways. And here we go. Here's some more commentary. So if anybody didn't realize or understand, J.D. Vance was on the Joe Rogan show, I guess either today or yesterday, and Donald Trump puts this out, and there it is.
I'm accusing them. I think they stole the election.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think it's common. And this idea
about
that
LA mayor
elections can't be stolen. I always say to people, okay, do you think that the amount of election fraud is 0%?
The stuff that was talked today on his show.
No one thinks it's zero.
It's
There's
amazing.
always some
J.D. Vance will
overzealous
be the next
person
president of the United
somewhere
States
that's doing
in
something.
2028.
There's always crazy people
Hands down.
that like blue
Hands
no matter
down.
who. We got to win. I think they cheat. And I think they've been doing it forever. And I don't think there's any other reason why you would have no voter ID. And they try to say, oh, it's racist to have voter ID. Like, what are you talking about? Do you think other races are incapable of going to the DMV? That's insane.
Yeah, that's racist. It's actually super racist.
That's really racist.
Right. The
Super
implication
racist.
of their argument is literally
Say
like
that black and brown
Hispanics
people
cannot go to
are
the
not
DMV
smart
to get
enough.
an
They
ID.
can't go
By
to
the
the
way,
DMV.
if you look at the polling,
Black Americans are as pro-voter ID, even though most Black Americans vote Democrat, they're still pro-voter ID as much as white Americans is.
The question is, if it's racist and Black and brown Americans, they go to the polls and they can go to they recognize this stuff. Why are they not smart enough to get off the plantation to vote for a Republican? Why is it that they feel in some way that they have to be so gerrymandered to vote for a Democrat that's not going to give them anything, that underscores them and undercuts them all the time? Because I just don't think they have the acumen and understanding to really see this in a larger context. Not all of them, but a good swath of them. And it's embarrassing and it's sad. But yet they're stuck in some type of cyclical loop that they can't get out of because they put themselves in there, because maybe they're not smart enough to realize that, or they've been so completely blindsided and MK Ultra to death, they're not going to be able to recover for that. And you need a new narrative, a new discussion. And here we are, making sure that people understand this.
Most Americans are voter.
So
they want voter ID,
thing.
except for operatives.
So I'll offer on the Joe Rogan podcast this deal as vice president of these United States, that if Democrats really don't think that there's any cheating, give us voter ID.
I just don't know
give
how
us voter
it's
ID,
not.
and we'll stop talking.
Why
so much
is that
about
not
elections.
a federal thing?
We are trying to make it a federal thing. So we are right now trying to pass the Save America Act. One of its main provisions is a requirement that you do voter ID.
And you may be right, Linda Perino, that he might not be, but he's selling the argument that as a vice president, he's able to actually unpack all these different, let's just say, discussions in such a way that people process it in a different manner. All right. I'm not sitting there arguing with you who's going to be the next president, because I don't fucking care. I want to finish out this presidency with him, and I hope that he gets another 2 years. However, what I'm saying is that he needs to, in some way, continue on this path explaining these type of discrepancies, as he does well on the Joe Rogan podcast. Here we go. Paul Sperry again. I got a little bit more, and I'll get into, again, we might go a little bit longer. So, and I'll get to your commentary. So bear with me. We have to go a little bit longer. White House getting pushback from the big three TV networks. It's ABC, CBS, carrying primetime address live because AOC and the Democrats are demanding Trump is going to rehash baseless conspiracies. Why are they so scared if they're baseless conspiracies about the 2020 rigged stolen election? Even though Trump promises really big news, flanked by both the CIA and the FBI chiefs bringing in receipts. Why are they so scared, ladies and gentlemen? If they're so scared that something's going to happen, it's because, something's going to happen. And look, I'll show it to you right now. The New York Post put this out, and I want to be clear about it. The New York Post put this out. AOC is arguing. Here we go. Networks have an ethical obligation not to air Trump's upcoming speech about the election. Why are they pushing ABC, CBS, and other news outlets not to air this? If this is just what? Theoretical. It doesn't matter. It's all bullshit. Why are they so worried? What is it that they're worried about? That the receipts, which I hate that term, the receipts, or let's just put it this way, the evidence that will be, let's just say, provided, that will be positioned, that will be germane to the subject matter of this, will be all out in front for us to see. Question is, will people believe it? Will they buy it? The question is, how are you going to showcase it? How are you going to express this in a matter? Let me say hello to a couple of people on Pilled and everybody else. Wood USA, thank you for the 719 gold pills. Need more gold pill love. Thank you always for supporting the stream. What's up, Sean Joe? Thank you again for being here. And the cookie, throw a little gift to the can. Justice Thomas has that energy we need, especially in times of peril. We need more like him. Get rid of these weak-minded women. Yeah, I mean, Justice Thomas is showcasing what it is to be a black man, okay? Where the Senate in the 90s didn't want him. They were racist, and they were targeting, and there was death threats and all this other stuff. You had Republicans and Democrats that did not want him there. They didn't. They hated him. They didn't like him. They didn't like anything about him. No, they didn't. And it's oddly shocking that George Herbert Walker Bush appointed him. Wow. And then he got all the sexual stuff, and then he was able to move on, push forward, and become one of the greatest Supreme Court justices on the bench. And hopefully, when we remove Roberts and Comey Barrett, hopefully they resign or dip out, that we'll see a Chief Justice, in some way, Clarence Thomas. Hopefully. They're all a gift of the can. He's an astronaut, so he has Spock ears, freaking lizard. Oh, yeah. Mark Kelly, garbage. Sharon Joe, thank you for the cookie. They're all a gift of the cookie. That Kelly should be swinging from a high. Yeah. Garbage people, garbage humans. And again, a lot of these people are okay, let's get into. So Kyle Becker puts this out. I'm going to fast this. So just be patient. Becker puts this out. Main source of viral report, President Trump's Thursday night address is being about Georgia elections, has walked it back again. I'm telling you right now, I put this thing out. We're going to be rug pulled. This whole thing is diversionary tactics, perception management. And then people are like, yeah, I don't believe that. I actually believe whatever's going to come out is going to change the narrative. But by suggesting that and proffering that put out there, go look at my my X account, you'll see that people are like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. That's what they're presupposing. That's what they're trying to astroturf you with, to gaslight you, to separate you from. And that's why you're starting to see this. A lot of people are suggesting that it's not going to be real. It's not going to happen. Don't watch us. Don't pay attention. Paul Sperry comes back again. Paul Sperry has been on top of a lot of commentary, and I've been highlighting a lot of Paul Sperry's stuff because he's done great work. I'm told forthcoming declassified docs will prove foreign penetration of the 2020 stolen election was deeper than anything the Russians were alleged and have done in the 2016, including the hacking of state voter rolls and the ID and ballot fraud. Wow. Wow, indeed. Let's continue on. It's going to get ugly. It's going to be great. Paul Sperry again comes back around. I got so much more of his stuff, but only highlight a certain partition. Breaking docs will also show that the Biden administration cooked the 2020 intelligence community assessment to make it appear that pro-Trump Russia still had been election interference and threatened in the 2020. So they utilized what happened in 2016 to bring that about for the 2020 election, to steal that, to help supplant that as a factual realization, when in fact it was a false narrative. The threat from pro-Biden nation, ICA used a red herring to throw the public off scent. That's what I'm saying. So you got red herrings, okay? You got malicious scams of developers building hype around smoke and mirrors, fog of war. You got flooding the zone. You got all these different people trying to suggest in some way that, hey, look, that whatever President Trump is going to release on Thursday night is what it is, a bunch of bunk. And what they're trying to do is put you in a position and box you in a corner to create a narrative, to create some type of, again, red herring, to suggest that, look, whatever he says can't be backed up, is not viable. It's not accountable. The question is, and I will say this though, when all the stuff is being deliberated out and all the stuff is being showcased out and stuff, will there be final accountability? Because it's not that we're not going to believe how the argument is presented and how the factual evidence is going to be, let's just say, downloaded and uploaded for people to process. The question is, what follows thereafter with all this? All the people that were involved to continue on doing what they're doing. Are we going to see that accountability? We're going to see high profile arrests. What is the end game from that, and where does it maneuver through and out? So here it is. King, is there a problem with voter fraud in this country? And again, Jay Clayton.
I said doing an absolutely terrible job on election integrity. What did that mean?
That meant that the audit trail that we have available for our elections in a number of places is not the kind of audit trail that you would expect in something that is this important. That's what it meant. And I mean,
So is there a problem with voter fraud in this country?
I don't think we can say definitively whether there is or is not until we have better processes.
We've had hundreds of analyses. We've had the Heritage Foundation study that found 1,650 cases out of 2 billion votes counted.
I would love for the American people to have incredible confidence in the integrity of our elections.
So would I. And I think that's an important thing. Trump can get another 4 years. No, he cannot. He can get another 2 years under the 22nd Amendment. But I'll say this, though. If it shows that he can get that we can change this, then you can overturn the 22nd Amendment. I think you might get another 2 years out of it. Because under the 22nd Amendment, it's 10 years for a president, but it doesn't say the interval of time. We've discussed that many times. Overton puts this out. I'm going to show you this. I'll be right back. But this is Kennedy talking to AG right now, Todd Blanche, whether special counsel Jack Smith had accessed his emails. Listen to this a little bit. I'll be right back.
Jack Smith read my emails?
I'm not sure, Senator. I don't know.
Would you check for me?
We will check, Senator, yes.
I think he read Senator Grassley's emails. How did he, how can someone at the Department of Justice get Senator Grassley's emails without probable cause?
There are checks in place that should make it extraordinarily difficult for a prosecutor to collect and review a senator's emails or a congressman's emails or a lawyer's emails or other folks that have privileged protections associated with their communications. And those checks and balances should always be used.
But Mr. Smith just...
So Jack Smith was spying on 44 different senators, and he lied under oath. Is there going to be something that goes after him? The whole, let's just say, consecration of Jack Smith's position is going to be, let's just say, showcased out there of what a corrupt criminal Justice Department does. And I think that we're seeing a very small scale of understanding how deep and wide and massive the Biden administration put in a deep state actor to undercut and go after previous Trump figures, Trump administration figures, and Trump himself. I don't want to show this anymore. Okay, I got to move out of this. Let's get through this in some way. All right. Where do I go from here? Okay, let me show you this. We're going to just highlight a couple of things, and then I'll show you some of Mark Wayne Mullen's garbage stuff. So here we are. Helene Compatour. Remember, this is the widow of Corey, who was killed. Remember, we showed you that fat piece of shit comedian, Tim Dillon, mocking her, ridiculing her husband, blah, blah, blah. Was killed in the Butler assassination attempt and President Trump shared these words in her interview yesterday. I believe it was an inside job. Listen to this.
Crooks himself remains shrouded in mystery. Authorities still haven't publicly identified a motive for his attempted assassination of President Trump.
You've expressed belief that the gunman, Thomas Crooks, didn't act alone.
I don't believe there was another shooter there, but I believe that he was working with somebody. I believe it was an inside job inside the government somewhere.
Wow. And this was political?
Oh, yeah.
Political.
Absolutely. Yep.
Have you seen evidence to that?
Oh, I've been told things, but I've had something that happened with me that just afterwards, and you're starting to put the pieces together, it just made total sense.
Wow.
What will help give you closure?
When the people who put this all together that day are caught and it comes out.
So if you had a message for President Trump, what would it be?
Just to don't forget us and remember what we went through that day. You know, we're still here, and we.
Do you think it was still fucking faked and rigged? As Tim Dillon, that fat fucking homosexual, queer. And look what he's done. Look how he illustrates. It's fake. It's rigged. The assassination 2-year anniversary. Look at the pain in this woman's eyes. Don't forget what we went through. It's an insult. It's an embarrassment. And that fat fucking queer undercuts this woman's pain. And she says, I hope President Trump doesn't forget. You think he forgets? Do you see where I'm going with this? It's disgraceful. It's disgusting. And they're selling that narrative like it's okay and undercutting this woman's pain, her daughter's pain, and underselling and underscoring the death of this guy who's a fire marshal. What a disgrace. What a joke. If you don't have any sympathy or empathy for this woman, and then you see the people that make these type of antagonistic disrebukes about, oh, it's all fake, this thing was all rigged. No, there's a lot of questions that are still unanswered about the Butler shooting. But it doesn't belie and belabor the idea that the family is dealing with the pain still. And while you want to joke about it, you want to incentivize, you want to profit off this stuff, all you do is what? Embarrass yourself and undercut who you are. What a disgrace. Anybody that says anything to the contrary really has no self-respect. In fact, they are embarrassment. Until you can prove otherwise, you need to shut the fuck up. You fat fucking queer Tim Dillon. Yeah.
Need answers.
Helen Comparator says it was a year before the Secret Service actually reached out to her. The questions that she did ask, she says they didn't answer them fully, and she's now pleading, reaching out to President Trump, hoping that he will intervene, apply pressure.
A year. No one has any answers. There's no answers for the family. There's no answers. No one has any answers. What's the point? What's the point? Embarrassment. Here we go. I'll play a couple more things and then we got to dip out of here. I don't want to be holding the bag for too late because a lot of people are like, you go on with long shows. Some people say, can you go for 3 hours? I can't go for 3 hours. Holy smokes, VP J.D. Vance just told Senate Republicans to cut the procedural bullshit and pass the Save America Act. Let's listen to this because I got something about what he said about Epstein.
Save America Act, one of its main provisions is a requirement that you do voter ID. And we actually have, I think, a majority of the Senate that would support it. But this is just weird Senate procedural bullshit. There is a subsegment of people who want voter ID, but won't blow up the filibuster in order to achieve it. And so they're so married to these old world Senate procedures that they're going to make it impossible for us to pass Save America. Now, we are, for what it's worth, trying to fix that and trying to address these like weird procedural archaic things. It's insane, though. Like, if you ever, okay, I'm sure you hear people talk about the filibuster all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole.
Listen to this.
Here's what the filibuster is. It is a pure Senate rule. It is a creation of the Senate procedures, which basically says that anything that has to do with the budget is a 50-vote threshold.
Yep.
And everything else, non-budgetary, is a 60-vote threshold. Now, as you can imagine, there's some gray area on things that maybe count as budget issues and should be 50, or are not budget issues and count at 60. So what we have tried to persuade the Senate to do is to treat the voter ID as something that can fall within the 50-vote threshold.
So they only care about the Senate rules, the arcane, arbitrary Senate rules. They don't care about what the bill is. They want to just make sure that the bill is passed under these arcane, ridiculous, let's just say aloof rules that matter to nobody, that don't impact you and I. They don't. And that's why a lot of shit that Advance is saying doesn't get passed, because they're more focused on following these types of procedures, which are under the parliamentarian, which they need to fire. And that's why Vance is saying we got to come in there and clean this fucking thing up and eviscerate this in some way. Yeah. I mean, it's just embarrassing that we sit here and say, well, I wonder why things don't get passed in the Senate. Oh, Tom Cotton came out today and said, hey, look, we're not going to pass the daylight savings time deal. He said, I'm going to fucking, and John Thune is like, yeah, we're not going to do it. You know why? Because they fucking can. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of the Senate. I'm sick of all them. Senate's garbage, man. It's full of a bunch of fucking batshit crazy fucking old fuck. It's an old folks home. It's full of people that are just garbage human beings, that are just multimillionaires with a lot of power that think that they can fuck you over left and right. They don't care about you. You know, they should worry about their life and their lot. You know, they should be asking for more protection. They probably should. You shouldn't focus on Supreme Court justices. You should focus on senators. I'm serious. I'm not telling people what to do and how to guide their animus and hate and vitriol. I'm not saying go gun down your local senator. That's what I'm saying. But they're the ones who have the power to fucking block, impede, control a lot of stuff. It's not the Supreme Court. If the Senate and the House of Representatives did their job, and mostly the House does, but if the Senate did their job, you would pass most of this stuff. But they don't. They force it upon our justice system. They force it upon our jurisprudence that fails all the time. And they sit there trying to remedy the problem, and they come asking for money because that's how the system is rigged. The whole system is rigged in order to what? Create narratives to entice violence against circuit courts, Supreme Court justices, judges in general, so they capitulate, so they give in. And the Senate, they do it blindly and willingly because they're getting paid on the back end, all right, to what? To steal from America, to profit off of America, to make sure the laws in place do not get passed that need to get passed. And so they look out into the fold and they see, hey, look, let the courts deal with it. But they know the courts are subverted as well. All right. There's a couple of things I want to get into, but I'm running late. Where do I go? All right. This is something I want to drop. I'll drop another JD Vance thing, and then I'll get into a little Mark Wayne Mullen, and then we're out of here. So here we are. So Daily Mail puts it out. JD Vance accuses Israel of a secret plot against him and drops Mossad Epstein bombshell and explosive Joe Rogan interview. Yeah, we'll probably have to continue this tomorrow, but I got so much more. Let's play it.
Again, like,
wow.
Say this with all candor, like, we absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files.
Wait.
Like we just did. But do I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something?
Wait,
No.
what?
I think the reason we screwed up the comms of the Epstein files is one, you know, Pam Bondi said the client list is on my desk, right?
Well, they had binders.
That's
They were
100%
standing
right.
in front.
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released, right? So let me try to.
Well, what was the
defend.
purpose of that performative display of the Epstein files? And she was saying there's
Listen to this.
thousands of hours of film.
I don't know what the purpose of it was, but I know that the effect of it was to make people mistrust the entire effort. And what I think was happening.
You hear that?
I know Pam. I like Pam. I don't think there was anything malicious. People.
It was to make people mistrust the entire effort.
What I think was happening. Look, I know Pam. I like Pam. I don't think there was anything malicious going on.
Interesting.
I think Pam was trying to respond to the political moment. I think she overstated what we had and what we didn't have.
Overstated and understated.
She, got roasted for it publicly by a lot of people, including me.
I don't know if it's me, but it sounds like he's calling out Pam Bondi. I don't know. What say you, One Thunder? Thank you for the can. Good to see everybody in the chat. But it sounds like to me that he's calling out Pam Bondi and saying she over-delivered or under-delivered in such a way that she pushed a narrative that you can't walk back. Yeah, she did. She did in so many different ways, and it's a disgrace. And you know what? That's why we're in that predicament. Whether she did it on purpose or not, or she made a mistake, we're never going to know. Here it is. This is why daylight savings time is never going to get passed. Daylight savings time was created during World War I to give farmers and workers more daylight to work. The government kept it when they discovered it causes heart attacks and strokes in elderly. And during the time change, people had more car accidents, falls, and injuries. Our bodies have an internal clock that is damaged during every clock change. Today, we have universal electricity and lights. We have no need for DST anymore. It's time to stop the madness and DST clock changes forever. That comes from Homeland Security News. Interesting that they're putting that out. What's your thoughts about that? What do you think about that in some way? How do you feel about this? I'm all for keeping the leap forward permanent. Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep it forward, but again, I digress. I don't think it even matters anymore. What does it matter anymore? All right. This is one thing I saw. I think you guys need to see it. I have much more. Tomorrow we'll be discussing, because I don't want to keep the show going because a lot of people want to dip out. We have so much more. This was interesting. Melissa Redpell puts this out. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announces there is $1 trillion in confirmed gold at Fort Knox. The gold is still there. Have you visited Fort Knox? Bessent says, I'm happy to say all the gold is present. Okay. Let's listen.
Wasn't exactly an even trade, but for President Trump, it was pretty even.
He usually comes out on top.
Not usually, always.
Always. What are we looking at here? These look exquisite.
Yeah, so these are the displays of our currency over the years. Some of it, like we used to have silver certificates. We used to be backed by silver, sometimes gold. And then in the 70s, we just went to what was called fiat currency, where you didn't have to keep gold or silver in the vault. If any of these are still outstanding, though, the silver or gold for them is at Fort Knox, waiting for them to be claimed if so needed.
Have you visited Fort Knox?
I haven't. People on my staff has. We're going to the treasurer's office. The treasurer has been to Fort Knox. I am happy to say all gold is present and accounted for. The U.S. has the largest pile of gold in the world, over $1 trillion at current market value.
And we're getting.
There you go. There you go. So, the idea that at Fort Knox, do you believe Bessent? I mean, we were supposed to go on a tour of President Trump. Is that still possible? Is that still viable? Is it still necessary? Does it even matter at this point? Let me show you something else by I wanted to touch on the whole thing about about Mark Wayne Mullen. So Robbie Starbuck puts this out because Mark Wayne Mullen, the Department of Homeland Secretary, is a pussy. He's a mangina. He's a man who is a milksop, an indecisive fool who lacks courage, resolve, and he's contemptible. Yes, he is. He is totally contemptible, and President Trump should fire him. Good news, President Trump has overruled the DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. The ICE traffic stops will immediately continue and reassures agents that he has their back. We need maximum pressure. The men and women of ICE are doing a great job, one that has to be done. Crime is way down in America. In many cases with these numbers that haven't been seen in decades. The open border policy, a sleepy Joe Biden allowed 25 million people to pour into our country. It's more than that. Anyway, I don't want to belabor that, but President Trump is basically putting his thumb on this and saying, look, the Department of Homeland Security that backpedaled, that basically got bitch slapped by the kooky, crazy wingnut senator from fucking Maine, took orders from that fucking cunt and said, you know what? Yeah. I'm gonna pull back because some Colombian or some Mexican El Salvadorian got shot and killed. Good, line them up. We need more of these people shot. If we can't remove them, then you need to extricate them in every way possible, because no matter what, they're criminal scum. And you know what? You and I, we're criminals They come right after. They'll fucking knock down our door and stuff. Knock down their door. Smash their window. Do what you got to do. I want to see this shit 24/7. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. All right? You can't speak the language. All right? You're milking off the system. You're avoiding paying taxes. You snuck in the back door. You're a trespasser. You can get shot on said property. Stand your ground. I'm tired of these people. Execute these people. I don't fucking care. Third world trash. Look, vigilante justice. If they don't do it, this administration knows. If they don't do it, we will. We will. The people I talk to want to kill fucking third world people left and right. They want to fucking hang them on bridges. They want to hang them, this dirt slop, to show all the other fucking migrants and illegal scum, hey, look, if you don't dip out of here on your free will, we will make sure you look like that. Just like the cartel likes to show that they like to hang and execute people that are rat bastards. No, we need to showcase once and for all our seriousness. There is no compunction here to express my vitriol about how I feel about the dirt slop of third world scum. They have killed so many American citizens over the last decade, they don't even want to record it. They don't want to even record it. And I'm embarrassed to fucking bring that to you. I'm embarrassed for the states that control it. They have it all hidden. The FBI don't release it. They don't want to show. If they showed you the numbers of Americans, the deaths, of the drunk driving, of all these accidental deaths or intentional deaths or all these other things by third world criminal alien scum, we would be citizen vigilante murdering. We would be going hunting these people. We would. We would. It would be every day is target practice. Every day is what? Hunting season. Every day is duck season. It's rabbit season. Every day would be what? Killing an illegal criminal alien who don't deserve to be here, that has no rights. They're not aforementioned anything. They were invaders, they're trespassers, and they need to be expelled from this country. Period. One way or another. One way or another. I am advocating that. That alone is what we should stand for and for only. Just like they broke through your fucking back door to sneak in to rob and rape you, you kill them. You stand your ground, you blast them. It is no different from them doing the same thing, from climbing over a wall or a fence or sneaking in on a boat through some ocean to get in here. It is no longer, we're going to deal with this. The deterrence has to be you and I. And Mark Wayne Mullen should be fired for his incompetence and the fact that he's a boob and he's a weak, feckless fucking what? Man. What a garbage human being that piece of shit is. I'm embarrassed for President Trump for nominating him, but maybe he did that for that reason. And I'll leave you with something a little positive. Something a little funny. So I'll leave you a little vitriol and hate, even though it runs through my blood, it runs through my heart about how I feel because of how many American citizens have been killed, and there's no justice for them. There's never going to be a payout. There's never going to be anything in general for these people. Thank you, Trusty Turnip. I'm glad I released the gold pills, and I'll show you this so you guys can dip out. I don't want to keep you guys on for too long, but this was funny. These things make me laugh, and we need some laughter in our lives when times call for it, because I'm done crying. I'm done whatever. We need something to reel us back in.
My presidency. No helicopters, no karaoke, just catfish and silence.
Mr. President, silence is like good cornbread. You don't appreciate it until someone ruins it with raisins.
Donald, Sir, I brought the cornbread and the Iran update.
Sir, this cabin is a perfect forward operating base. I'm setting up a perimeter.
Your pulse is elevated. Have you been hydrating? This altitude is...
Get off my arm.
I told Rubio to bring cornbread. I did not tell him to bring the entire government.
Hegseth was already in my car when I left. I don't know how he got in. He was just there, in camo, in the back seat. Didn't say a word for 3 hours.
Stealth, sir, it's what I do.
Is that catfish fried in butter? That's a cardiovascular event waiting to happen. I brought an air fryer. It's in the trunk.
Son, if God wanted us to air fry catfish, he wouldn't have invented Louisiana.
Melania? She locked me out of a cabin in the mountains with a man who wants to air fry catfish and another man who set up a perimeter around a shed.
Catfish?
Give me 2 pieces and don't let Oz near them.
Perimeter secured. Eagle is grounded. Catfish is hot. I repeat, catfish is hot.
Well, that's funny. It's beautiful and funny, and we should appreciate all the... I just some of those things I see and I run by it. I just, it's just beautiful and laugh. Okay. That's our show for tonight. We went a little over. We will, the We Are Right show will be broadcasting. I'll be broadcasting tomorrow at 8:00. Everything that is happening will take place tomorrow. We'll hopefully we'll catch an EBS or anything else. Whatever happens thereafter tomorrow will set our future destiny. And I hope that what is discussed and let's just say not discovered, but just released, that people can see it, choose for themselves, and then we have a position to run from. I hope that's our future. Well, that's our show. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:00. God bless. Be well, be safe, be smart. Thank you, everybody out there, for supporting the platform and being here. Ciao, Bella.